He looked like a lost tourist. Why was he in my bedroom weeks later? The rain had turned from a drizzle into a determined, slanted downpour, soaking the streets and making everything gleam with a ghostly sheen under the streetlights. I was fumbling with my umbrella, trying to balance my bag and a steaming cup of coffee, when I saw him, tall, slightly hunched, squinting at a piece of paper in his hand like it might suddenly change and make sense. He looked completely out of place: tan trench coat, a navy backpack, sneakers that were far too clean to have walked these grimy streets for long. His hair clung to his forehead in damp curls, and his brow furrowed as he tried to match street names to what was clearly a printed map. Most people don't carry paper maps anymore. That was the first thing I noticed. I don't usually talk to strangers. But something about the way he stood, with that blend of determination and hesitation, made me pause. Maybe it was the foreign accent I caught when he asked a passerby for directions and was briskly ignored. Maybe it was the way he looked grateful when I made eye contact, as if just the acknowledgement of his presence was a small mercy. "Lost?" I asked, lifting my umbrella slightly to shield him as I approached. He smiled, sheepish. "Yes, I think completely. I'm looking for a hostel near River Street." I knew the place. A bit out of the way and certainly not where he was standing. I offered to walk him part of the route, since I was heading in the same direction. He hesitated, then nodded. As we walked, he introduced himself as Marius, said he was from Latvia, visiting for a few weeks to see museums and try real English tea. We didn't talk much. Just a few scattered observations about the weather, the architecture, and how badly his umbrella had failed him. But when we reached the corner where I had to turn, he looked genuinely sad to part ways. "Thank you," he said. I was getting very wet and very frustrated. "No problem," I said and smiled, thinking I'd never see him again. But I did, and that rainy meeting outside the train station would come to mark the beginning of a quiet unraveling I didn't yet recognize. 3 days later, I was in the bookstore I always retreated to when I needed silence. It's a quiet little place tucked between a flower shop and an antiques dealer, with uneven floorboards and narrow aisles that seem to whisper as you walk. I had just pulled a collection of translated poetry off the shelf when I heard a familiar voice say, "You have good taste." I turned. Marius stood just a few feet away, holding a slim book in one hand and a takeaway coffee cup in the other. He looked drier, more composed, his curls still slightly unruly but cleaner, and now that the trench coat was gone, I saw he dressed simply: navy sweater, dark jeans, that same navy backpack slung over one shoulder. "Marius?" I asked, half laughing. "What are you doing here?" "I told you," he said, smiling. "I came to explore. I find bookstores more comfortable than most tourist spots." It was a strange coincidence. Too neat, maybe, but I didn't question it. Not then. He gestured toward the little cafe in the corner of the shop and asked if I'd join him for a drink. I had an hour to kill, so I agreed. What followed was an unexpectedly long, intimate conversation. We talked about the books we